Coming up on the program today, we're planting our potatoes. Some techniques to help you get a better yield. And
we're planting cilantro in partial shade to get a good yield from it. All that and more coming up today on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored in part by, for all your non-GMO, heirloom, organic, vegetable, flowers, and herb seeds, visit dollarseed.com. Sioux Growing Supply, located in Wausau, Wisconsin, focusing on certified leaf compost, an excellent amendment for poor soil, retains moisture and adds nutrients, which equals less watering. Available in Sioux organic seed starting kits, pre-filled trays and pots, bag and bulk. Visit SiouxCompost.com. Organic fertilizer for the health-conscious organic home gardener. Family owned and operated. Visit wgardens.com. Don't poison your soil with municipal water. Attach a body, mind, and soil hose and filter. Free shipping exclusively through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Just click on the body, mind, and soil icon. Authentic Haven brand soil conditioner for the home gardener. Easy to brew, 100% organic. Visit ManureTea.com.
welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. We're in the large garden today, and the ambient temperature and the soil temperature have reached the peak that we want it to plant our seed potatoes. Seed potatoes are different than sweet potatoes. Seed potatoes like cool weather and cool soil, but not too cool. Soil temperatures no less than 45 degrees Fahrenheit. We've tested our soil at root level, about 6 inches deep, and we're right at 50.5 degrees. You can use a digital thermometer for this. And this is really important because if the roots of the potato or the soil is too cold, your potato can sit there and rot. So we've got, we're going to plant in a couple of different techniques here. We're in the raised berms here, which means we have designated grow spaces and permanent walk paths. We've got 20-foot long by 3-foot wide bed here, and we're growing across in this particular bed on the high end there. We'll go over there momentarily. We're going in a long path, and we'll explain why. With here, we've got 7 growing spaces, 3 foot across. Now, we're digging across so we're not stepping on it during planting or during harvest because we're trying to eliminate compaction, because compaction is not good for the soil in your garden. We also have spaced them. Now, the white sacks here, that's just simply where compost came in, and we used that, one, to put the soil on top of it so it's easier to put it back in the hole, and 2, it helps as a spacer so we know how far apart to make our potato rows. Last year we had exact same bed set up, a few beds that way. We had not 7 specific grow areas, but we had 11, which meant we compressed our growing space very tightly, which the end result was poor yield on the potatoes because we did not give them adequate space to grow, and we compressed them too tight. And that's one of the mistakes many gardeners make, is because we try to squeeze a lot of vegetables in a small area, and the end result is a small yield. Now, we're planting a variety of different potatoes from Wood Prairie Farms up in Bridgewater, Maine. They're a certified seed potato supplier. If you haven't purchased your seed potatoes, most of those varieties that they purchase, they have 26 different specialty varieties. Most of those are sold out. But that doesn't mean the information on their website is not invalid. They have tons of information at woodprairiefarms.com on how to plant your potatoes, and or once your potatoes are planted, how to best manage your potato patch for best yields. So we're going to plant these in a couple different techniques. And we're going to head down to the low end there, or the high end, or whichever way you want to call that, and we're going to start planting these potatoes. We're going to start with King Harold. They are a mid to early variety. Potatoes, much like tomatoes, fall in 3 different categories: early maturity, mid maturity, and late maturity. And most of our potatoes are the mid to late, and that'll be 70 to 130 days. So you want to plant, wherever you're going to plant, you want to plant your varieties. In this row, you want all your varieties to be the same variety, so you're not waiting for multiple varieties to reach maturity. This way, when those get ripe, or mature, we can harvest them, put something else in its spot. So let's head down to this end, and we will prep the grow space, and then start getting our potatoes in the ground. All right, so there's a couple of ways that we are going about planting these potatoes. As you know, if you've planted potatoes, you want to hill them up as they grow out of the soil. So what we're going to do is we're planting these about 6 inches deep, and we're going to just going to cover them level. And in about 3 to 4 weeks, you'll be able to see the tops emerge. Then we'll backfill or hill those up at that point. A couple things you need to know about your seed potatoes. They have eyes, or the sprouts. So the key element of a potato is the growth on it, or the eyes, or the chits on the potato. It's necessary because that is the portion that will expose out of the soil and allow your plant to photosynthesize. So what you want to do is a couple days before you plant, you want to go ahead and cut your potatoes. No smaller than a chicken egg, and at least one, preferably 2 eyes on each portion. Some of these I was able to get 2 on. Other ones I only have 1, but 1 large one. Now if you have, and we do have a few in some of these bags, that have a very long growth on them, do you want to break them off? No, you don't, because I've read a lot of things that you should or you shouldn't, but here's essentially what's happening. This green portion, or this growth, is getting the energy from the potato. What happens is, when this reaches exposure to sun, it will begin to put roots on. Once the roots are established, it disconnects itself from the tuber. That's why when you dig potatoes up in late summer, you find the rotten potato that was the initial seed potato. By tearing this off, or by breaking it off if it is a very long growth, you are essentially putting the potato back in recovery mode to put a new growth on the potato. So what you can do is just plant them deep and allow the top or the large portion exposed above the soil level if you're planting it, because you don't want to cause it to try to regrow, because if the potato itself is too small and doesn't have enough energy, you won't get a potato out of it, or you'll get very poor, disproportionate sized potatoes. So, and if the potato is smaller or the equivalent of a chicken egg, you don't want to cut it, you just want to go ahead and put it in the ground as is. Now we've got about 15 pounds or so from Wood Prairie Farms, and we've cut them all and allowed them to heal or scab over. Now the scabbing over just prevents a lot of the insects from getting in there. And not a single one of these potatoes was rotten or soft, so we're very, very pleased with the product that we have to plant in our garden. So we've got our trench dug here. We're going to fill it with a proper amount of Winchester Garden Select Organic Potato Fertilizer. It's a 369, designed to help increase the productivity roots of the potato. And I'm going to put the correct applicational rate in the hole here. And then we're going to add a little bonus material on our end, which is going to be just a little bit of coffee grounds and just a little bit of homemade compost in the bottom of the hole here. Now your potatoes, you want to space them about every foot. Now we're a little tight here on width-wise, so what I'm going to do is you want to plant them preferably with the green facing up. And I'm going to snug them in 3, and that's the way they're going to sit. Now what we'll do is we'll backfill that hole and then level full, and then once the seed potato starts emerging, then then we can backfill. Now if you plant your potatoes too early and they begin to emerge and you get a cold snap or a freeze and it kills that green top off, it's not killed the potato necessarily. What has happened is it's just killed the green portion off, and the potato has to regenerate that green portion, which pushes your harvest date back even further. So the key is to get these potatoes in when the soil temperature is adequate, 45 to 50 degrees minimum, but not too late, because if you're in a very warm climate, potatoes will stop growing when the soil temperature reaches 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to get all of these planted, then we're going to go up on the high end and talk about how we've done it a different technique to suit the specific growing bed that we have up there. All right, so we've got this all planted. It worked out really well with the bags. We put the potatoes in, we just flipped the soil over, worked out real good. And the spacing between each row is far enough to where when the potatoes begin to come up, we can split the difference and heel the potatoes when necessary when they emerge from the soil. So we're gonna head over on the high end, and we're planting them a little different based on the size of the raised berm that we have. So with this raised berm, it's only about 16 inches wide, so we did the same technique. We took a tarp at this point and we threw all the dirt on it. And the same process was some Winchester Garden fertilizer, a potato fertilizer, some coffee grounds, and some compost in the hole. And we'll go ahead and space and plant them accordingly, about 1 foot apart. And then we'll just take the tarp and flip it right back over on the bed, and we're done planting. And then we'll be able to hill up if necessary, when the potatoes begin to emerge out. So if you haven't got your potatoes in the ground, I hope that this has helped you. If you have already and you want some more techniques and tips, you can go to woodprairiefarms.com, and they offer you a variety of different techniques on how to continue to grow your potatoes if they're already in the ground. Growing in containers can be done no matter where you're at if you have adequate ground space and want additional space to grow in. We've got our onions and our leeks back here in our self-watering container. You can also plant vegetables such as cabbage in a container as well. This is a root maker container. It's real easy to put together. It's got air holes for root pruning. Very simple to put together. But what we have in here is a red cabbage. Now this is the three gallon container, or a 3. And we've planted it, we've filled it with compost. In addition to that, to help in a container situation, a container is going to evaporate moisture quicker out of the soil than traditional ground or raised bed because of the limited amount of material there is inside of it. So we've took shredded leaves and put around the top layer of soil after we've watered it in. If you no longer have leaves available on your property, you could use straw, you could use dry grass clippings, you could also use shredded paper, or in addition, you could actually take sand and cover the top layer of your container with about a ½ inch of sand. Sand will hold moisture in. If you go to the beach, you dig sand back, it's dry on the top, but there's a lot of moisture in the bottom or in the sand. So it's another way of holding moisture into a container so you don't have to water as frequently, and if you forget to water, your plants won't die. When it comes to gardening, you want to utilize and maximize the space you have available. Recently, we redid the trellis here by mulching the inner portions. This is a permanent trellis we have for our pole beans, and then incorporating some compost in the center that we're going to plant in now with kohlrabi. This is early white Vienna kohlrabi. It takes 50 to 55 days to reach maturity. So by utilizing the inside of this trellis, by the time these mature, they're going to be already done growing by the time we plant our pole beans, so there won't be any shade, one shading out the other type of thing. So if you've not planted kohlrabi before, it's a unique plant. It's a part of the cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower group, but it has its edible portion above ground. It's considered kind of like a root crop, but it's a baseball size. There's red and green, and it's a very nutrient dense vegetable that you can grow. Leaves are 3 times more nutrient dense than the actual bulb, but the leaves can be very fibrous, and there's ways to prepare this. You can eat it raw, very thin. You can grill them, you can saute them, you can bake them, but it takes about 50 days, and it kind of has the taste of cabbage and a turnip type of taste to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run down the center and plant all the way down in the center of this trellis, utilizing the space we have available now so we can get a crop now, as well as then come in and plant our beans when the time and temperature is correct.
Cilantro is a wonderful herb. Some people pretty much you either love it or you hate it, but it makes a great addition to many dishes, and it's got many great benefits for you as well. So what we did here is we made a makeshift raised bed of just some wood and some stakes we had, and we just kind of fitted it with the pressure. And it's ideal here because this is partial shade, and cilantro likes cooler weather, it likes the partial shade, so we get a really good yield from it. So what we do is we just go ahead, we just broadcast it throughout, and then we go, we top dress it a little bit, and we're ready to go with the cilantro, and it'll sprout up and come up nicely, and you can cut it away, use it, and come and cut again. So this is kind of, you can make rows, or you can just do what I'm doing here, where you kind of just sprinkle it around. I find this to be the easiest. I've made rows before, but it all kind of comes up the same. So that's what I'm doing, is I just sprinkle it throughout, and then I'll go ahead and just kind of give a little top dressing, and just make sure it's well watered. When you have a raised bed or a container, you do want to make sure that it stays well watered. Thank you for watching. Join us next time for more organic gardening and home food preservation. I'm Holly Baird, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. For more information, please visit thewwisconsinvegetablegardener.com.